Good evening. I welcome you all once again to our online current affairs session. Today is September 9th, 2014. So we'll go into the topics and we'll have a discussion regarding the latest issues. First, today let me start with you with the concept of this Ebola. So this Ebola virus is very much there in the news. So what exactly is this Ebola here? So in fact, the name Ebola has come from a country called Congo. And from there, so in that country, we have a river called Ebola. And this is the place where exactly the disease has started originally. And this particular disease is considered to be a dreadful disease and very dangerous disease. And with respect to this disease, take it for granted, there is no cure. There is no cure, there is no medication that is available. And in most of the cases, the person may die. And this particular disease is not affected, this particular virus is not affected through physical touch of the body. But otherwise, what happens is that, so the fluids that are present in the person that is carrying this virus, that's the reason the fluids may be affecting the other person and it is going to contaminate. You might have seen recently here, some people have come to India from the African nations. They were screened at the airports only by the medical authorities in India, only to make it sure that they are not suffering from this Ebola virus. Otherwise, it's a very, very dangerous one. Even after the death of the person also, the virus still continues and it still lives in the body of the person. That's the reason why sometimes touching the dead body of a person who died of this Ebola virus may also cause the problem here. And with respect to this Ebola, so what is the risk that is present in India? We'll try to see. So let me open the document for you. I'm talking to you regarding the Ebola virus. So we'll try to see this. Look at this. This particular one is named after a river in Congo. This virus was first emerged in the year 1976 from Africa. And look at this. This virus is carried through fruit bats, chimpanzees, and gorillas. If you look at this fruit bats here, so this is one of the varieties of the bats that are present here. You must be knowing what are these bats here. These are the nocturnal animals. They move only during the night times. And these bats are considered to be the vectors. In the previous class, last week, I told you what is the meaning of the vector. So here in this particular case, the bats, chimpanzees, and these gorillas, they are considered to be the vectors. And in the South African nations here, the meat of this particular bird, this bat, is considered to be one of the important foods. And by eating this particular meat, the person will be affected by the so-called this Ebola virus. Fine. Now, again, I'm coming back to the document. Let me show you some more points. Look at this. The bat meat and the bush meat are the popular foods in the African region. Kindly remember this, very, very important. This particular disease is coming from by eating the bat meat and the bush meat, which are considered to be the very popular foods as far as the African nations are concerned. That's the reason why this virus is present more in those areas. But it can be transmitted to other countries by the people who got affected by this Ebola virus. Look at the next point here. Very, very dangerous one, very, very serious one. Once affected by this, 90% of the people will die. Meaning there is no cure for this. At the most, we can prevent this, so by not mingling with the people who got affected by this Ebola virus. Look at this. The virus is still alive even after the death, and hence the infection can spread through the dead bodies. Very, very, very important here. Just now I told you the virus is present in the fluids. And if a person who is a healthy man, if he touches the fluids of other person who is suffering from this Ebola, the healthy person has chances of getting contaminated and getting affected by this virus. That is the reason it is always better to keep away from the person. While traveling also, if we find out that there is a person who is suffering from the symptom of this Ebola, immediately it has to be informed to the concerned authorities. They will jump into the operation. They will screen the person only to see that the person who is affected by the Ebola will be segregated. He will be kept in isolation. If that person is mingling with the group, there is every possibility that the group is going to be affected by this Ebola. This is one of the reasons how this particular disease will be transmitted and spread. And the most dangerous point is that there is no cure that is available. That is the reason it is considered to be one of the serious diseases as far as the World Health Organization is concerned. Now again I am coming back here. I am just scrolling down. Have a look at here. Is India at a risk of the current breakout of the so-called Ebola? Look at these points. Yes, the answer is yes. That is the reason why India is seriously worried about this particular Ebola. It is because the fruit bats are available in India also. What are these fruit bats? Look at this one here. These are the nocturnal animals. We know this point. These are the flying mammals and they live in Africa, Asia, Australia and Europe. And this particular bats are considered to be the vectors as far as the Ebola is concerned. Look at this next one. How exactly it is being transmitted? It is only through the bodily fluids of the sick person or dead person and exposure to the contaminated objects like needles. Hence, it is a very, very dangerous one. If these needles that are applied on a person who has suffered with the Ebola, if the same needle is also applied on a healthy person, even the healthy person will also have the chances of getting contaminated and he'll be affected by this Ebola here. And kindly remember another point, the virus is not transmitted through the food, air and water, but it is transmitted through the bodily fluids of the sick persons. That's the reason why it is always better to keep away from those persons who have the symptoms of this Ebola. Very, 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 very important. Now, what should be done? Kindly have a look at this. See here, I would like to tell you one point here. It is not just one health issue that is present in India. There are so many health issues that are present in India or across the world. But the basic idea is that whenever any health issue is there, it is the responsibility of the government of the day. At the same time, the people of the country should also cooperate with the government, only to see that as early as possible that disease will be mitigated. But these virus, bacteria or so many things, they will continue to exist for a long period of time. That's the reason why we always say prevention is better than cures. So hence, the education levels in the country has to be enhanced so that the people will be understanding how exactly a person will be affected by various types of diseases. If that knowledge is there in the minds of the people, obviously everybody will be striving towards ending the problem that is related to the health issues. Hence, kindly remember, take it for granted, education will play the most important role as far as the development of the nation is concerned. Whenever I am talking about the development of the nation here, I am not just talking in terms of the industrial growth or agriculture growth here. That will happen over a period of time. Look at the condition of India in the year 1950 and look at the status of India today. So we are really advancing like anything with respect to the various sectors in India. But when I'm talking about the development here, this is the holistic development in which health is also one of the important issues as far as the development is concerned. That's the reason why education will play a very, very crucial role with respect to the development of every sector and any sector in India. That's the point, right? Now, I'm coming back to the screen. Like, now look at this. What should be done? Look at the point that I'm highlighting to you. The patient must be kept in isolation because very, very sick patients will bleed. Very, very important here. Kindly have a look at this. The patient must be kept in isolation because of the sick patients will start bleeding. Clear? I told you already. These fluids will carry the virus. That's the reason why. So he has to be kept in isolation. Test must be conducted in the conditions of maximum security. You might have seen in the airports, maybe in the TV footages also, the health department people, they are going and screening the people who are coming from the African nations whenever they have the doubt that the person is suffering with the Ebola symptoms. So during that time, lots of security measures they will take with respect to their own health here. Otherwise, there is every possibility the doctors and the medical people who are treating the patients of Ebola are also may be affected by this Ebola. Hence, maximum security has to take into consideration. Look at this. The doctors must use advanced face mask and a double latest gloves. Very, very, very important. This is what exactly you're doing here. If you look at their dressing, their shoe, their gloves here, so everything is special because they are trying to protect themselves. Under the security, they are going and screening the people. Kindly remember this, all the points with relation to this Ebola. Now, so I would like to talk to you something about the second topic, that is a two-child norm that is present in Indian elections. What is the meaning of this? For example, see, India is a country with diversified cultures, religions, castes, and values, social values rather. Obviously, what exactly happens is that when different people are living in a common country, obviously it will become difficult for the government of the day to impose the same rules and regulations here. Now, if you look at India, because of our cultural variation or the societal values variations here, certain concepts cannot be imposed on the people, but the government of the day can try to promote certain issues. For example, see, throughout the world, the huge population that is increasing in the country, in the world rather, this is a cause of a biggest worry as far as the world is concerned. And the most populated country in the world is China, and India is standing at #2 position. So as the population is increasing, it will lead to more pressure on the resources that are available in the country. Hence, it will become difficult over a period of time to deal with the various issues. Then obviously what happens is that the country may suffer over a period of time. That is the reason why if you look at China, so they have already imposed a policy called a one-child norm. China is a different country, it's a communist country. They can impose a policy and they can see that the policy is continued. But whereas in India, it has to be done through certain promotions by giving certain benefits. That is the reason, if you look at our Panchayati Raj system that is present in India, that became a constitutional body through the 73rd Amendment. Similarly, the concept of municipalities also been added to the Constitution through the 74th Amendment. So these are the points we already know here. But since beginning, there is a provision that is available where the legislature of each state can decide about the additional qualifications to be given to the people who are contesting in the local body elections. Local body elections means Panchayati Raj and municipalities. And some of the states, they have already passed certain laws where they have imposed the two-child norm. That is the reason from the year 1995 onwards, a person who is possessing more than two children is not permitted to contest in the elections. I am not talking about all the states here. Few states have adopted this, and few states after adopting they have removed it. I'll show you the information now. But what is the biggest advantage with this? The advantage is nothing but, if you look at the Panchayati Raj, I am talking about the Zilla Parishad, Mandal Panchayat and the village Panchayat. A village is considered to be the basic unit of the development. Kindly listen to me very carefully. So this is the village is considered to be the basic unit for the development. Until and unless the villages are not developed, the country is not developed. This is the concept that has been given to India by Mahatma Gandhi. Hence, if you want to impose certain restrictions, if you impose it at the lowest level, that is at the grassroots level, that is called the village, obviously the person who is contesting in the elections at the village level will become a role model for the remaining population that is present in the village. That's the reason today, if you look at some of the states, these states have the two-child norm. Anybody with more than two children are not permitted to contest in the elections. I am talking about Panchayati Raj. If he contests and if he wins, again he will be disqualified. But what exactly happens here? The person at the village level, if he knows that there is a disqualification, obviously this particular talk will be discussed in the entire village, so that a village which is a small area with a little population, maybe 500, 1000, 2000 or 3000, this little population will discuss about this, so that an awareness will be created. Why there is a restriction on this particular one? And the people, once start discussing about this issue, more elaborate talk will come into picture, and over a period of time the people will understand and they will try to follow the concept of the family planning, so that the family size will be restricted. So this is what is happening there. And some of the states, they have introduced it, and some of the states, they have not introduced it. But now the question is that when it comes to India, I have the elections for Panchayati Raj, I have the elections for municipalities, we have the elections for state legislative assemblies and legislative councils, followed by the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, President and Vice President. So many elections we are conducting in India. When so many elections are being conducted here, why this particular disqualification is applicable only in few states? Because it is the state subject, it is left to the discretion of the state to decide. But at the higher level, the demand is that this particular disqualification should also be introduced even for the parliament elections and the state legislature elections. So that what happens, the people who are contesting for the assembly or Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha elections will also become more aware of this, and they will become the role models for the rest of the population in their area, and that may lead to the controlling the growth rate of the population in India. That is the biggest advantage. Okay, so now I'll just show you this document now. After this we'll move ahead. Look at this. Some Indian states have the laws for disqualification to be a member in the local bodies. Why? If they have more than two children. But some of the states, they have faced some problem. That's the reason why after 2005, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, they have repealed these laws. Very important. Again, look at this. Uttarakhand and Bihar have the laws only for the municipalities. For example, if you look at some of the states like Andhra Pradesh today, they have this disqualification for both Panchayati Raj and also the municipalities. But some states like Uttarakhand and Bihar have the laws only for the municipalities and not for the Panchayati Raj. Look at this. There is a question here. Kindly look at the question. Which of the following statements is or true regarding the two-child norm with respect to the elections in India? This is mentioned in the Constitution? No, it is not mentioned in the Constitution. It can be decided by the concerned legislature. It is applicable to all the elections in India? No, just now we have understood it is applicable only in few states where the concerned state legislature has passed the law. Clear? And it is not applicable for assembly elections and the parliament elections here. This can be decided by the state legislatures. Yes, this is the right option for me here. If you look at ABC, A and B are wrong. Only C is correct here. I am going to the options here. Choose the correct answer. Obviously, what happens? Only C will be the right answer. Meaning, this can be decided by the concerned state legislature. Look at this. Yesterday, I was discussing this point with you. Let me not discuss anymore here. I have already discussed. This is related to the Surinder Kohli. It has been stopped by the Supreme Court. I told you the reason yesterday itself. Let me leave it. He is going to be there alive at least for a period of 1 week, and after that, what is going to happen to him? The Supreme Court will decide. Now, look at this. I would like to speak to you something about the Delhi government. So we all know what exactly is happening in Delhi. Yesterday also I was discussing with you regarding the concept of this Delhi. Kindly see here. Right now, of course, yesterday also I was sitting in a different place, and today also I'm sitting in a different place, not in the original place, because some renovation work is going on. Hopefully the light and voice, everything is clear. And of course, here at this place, I'm using the high-speed internet here. I'm using 50 Mbps. Hopefully everything is clear. Yeah. Now, so let me come back to this Delhi issue. Yesterday also we have seen that there is elections were conducted. Arvind Kejriwal became the chief minister. I told you the whole story yesterday. Let me not repeat. And later he submitted the resignation letter. And after that, there is a president's rule that is imposed in Delhi, and it happened on February 14th, 2014. And since then, even today also, this is under the president's rule. But how long the president's rule will continue? So is again, of course, it is very much clearly mentioned in the constitution. But when it comes to this Delhi today, whether the legislature, that is the assembly of Delhi, should be revived, or whether the assembly should be dissolved and the elections have to be conducted. When the president's rule has been imposed in Delhi, the assembly of Delhi was kept under suspended animation. Whenever we use the word suspended animation, it is a temporary suspension of the assembly, and it can be revoked at any point of time. Whenever we are revoking it here, the concept is that the lieutenant governor of Delhi is convinced that there is a political party which is ready to form the government. Because there is a government, you have to revive this assembly, and the assembly will be revived. Meaning, without going for the elections again, assembly will come back to the life. And what exactly it should be done? The constitution has given all the powers to the President of India, and the President is exercising the powers through the Lieutenant General. Lieutenant Governor is nothing but, he is like a governor of a state. Again appointed by the central government, meaning appointed by the President of India. Obviously, he is also expected to listen to the advice that is given by the President, meaning because India is a parliamentary form of government, obviously the Prime Minister is the most powerful man. Accordingly, he will be giving the advices to the President and to the various governors, and they are expected to act on such advice. And today the biggest problem in Delhi is that the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi wants to invite Bharatiya Janata Party to form the government. And of course, he has already written a letter to the President of India, and he is seeking the permission from the President of India so that he will be inviting Bharatiya Janata Party to form the government. See here, what should be done at what time is nothing is mentioned in the Constitution. Depending on the situation, a decision can be taken by the Lieutenant Governor with the prior permission of the President of India. But now the allegation against the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi is that he is acting on the behest of the central government. So that is an open fact. In reality, it's an open fact where the governor or the lieutenant governor will be acting on the advice that is given by the central government. Obviously, they are considered to be the political nominees. They are appointed because of their political affiliation. That is the reason why they are expected to listen to them. That's a different concept. But being the head of this Delhi, the lieutenant governor is expected to take some independent decisions. What happened now? When this lieutenant governor, he is planning to invite the Bharatiya Janata Party to form the government. Aam Aadmi Party, they have filed a petition in the Supreme Court. Today, Supreme Court has verified that petition, and it asked the Lieutenant General or Lieutenant Governor why there is a delay. Why there is a delay with respect to the formation of the government in Delhi, if there is any possibility. Otherwise, what happens? You may better dissolve it and you may go for the fresh elections. This is what is generally expected from the so-called the Lieutenant General. But I'm sorry, it is the Lieutenant Governor. But otherwise, what happens is that the Supreme Court has asked the central government to look into this. But Aam Aadmi Party has raised the allegations that the BJP, New Delhi BJP Vice President, has offered some bribe to some of the MLAs of this Aam Aadmi Party. But Supreme Court did not say anything on that. But already the Lieutenant Governor has written a letter to the President of India, maybe within a day or two, or maybe today by evening. The President may take some decision, and now it seems that the decks have been cleared, and the Lieutenant Governor is going to invite BJP to form the government. But unfortunately, the BJP has only 29 seats now. It is a short of few seats to form the government. How are they going to manage? We have to wait and watch. But otherwise, Aam Aadmi Party also requested Congress Party to see that BJP should not form the government. We'll just wait and watch what is going to happen. Most probably, BJP will be invited to form the government. And if it is invited to form the government, how do they manage? We'll just wait and watch. See here, by watching the situation in Delhi, we'll be completely knowing about the President's rule, powers of the Chief Minister, and how exactly the Assembly will be suspended, and what are the powers of the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, and what is the role of the central government, and what is the role of the President of India. Let's watch this, and depending on the developments that will happen in New Delhi, so I'll be giving you the updates. Right now, look at this. I think I have a question here, simple question. Look at the question here. The President's rule is imposed by you know the answer. The answer is the President of India. Very, very important. In some of the examinations, simple questions like this may be asked. Kindly remember this. And of course, all the students who have attended my polity classes, Indian polity classes, kindly go through this emergency provisions in our polity classes once again, because you still have the access to this videos, right? Next. Next, I'm talking to you something about the defense deal that is happening, and that is very much there in the news here. Now look at this. Every country in the world requires the security and the protection will be given by three different forces in India: Army, Air Force and Navy. These are considered to be the three strategic forces which will give continuous protection to the nation, and especially India. So we are comfortable as a citizens of India, because every minute we are being given protection by our great Army, Air Force and Navy. And whenever you want to give the protection here, the country is expected to have its own weaponry. The country is expected to have its own warships or jet fighters. But here I am talking to you about the concept of jet fighters, where the concept of Air Force is coming into picture. Air Force is one of the important and strategic forces in India, and you need to strengthen the Air Force mechanism year by year. So far you might have heard this word so many times, MiG-21. So these are the jet fighters. We have purchased it from this Russia. They have played a very, very crucial role as far as the protection of the nation is concerned all these days. But over a period of time, what happens? The requirements may be larger, and you may require to replace the existing ones with the new ones. That is the reason for the last 2 to 3 years in India, discussions were going on, and the Defense Ministry has engaged with other countries to purchase some of the jet fighters. There is a country called France, and that France is producing various types of jet fighters, and it has offered that it will be giving the jet fighters to India, and that deal is considered to be the world's largest deal as far as the defense is concerned. I'll show you the figures now. That is considered to be the world's largest defense deal. But after the new government has come into the picture, a development has come into India where a Germany consortium has come into the picture. Now, Germany consortium is offering India where they will be providing jet fighters at cheaper rates when compared to the France jet fighters. Obviously, what will happen? We require the most effective and efficient jet fighters. At the same time, the cost should also be cheaper. That is the reason why the Defense Ministry has engaged very seriously to conclude the defense deal with Germany, where we are going to get the very effective jet fighters. At the same time, the cost is also very, very low. Kindly remember, I am talking to you about the defense deal. In defense deal, I am talking to you only about the Air Force. And in this Air Force, I am involving three countries here: India, France and Germany. Requirement is for us. India has the requirement, and the requirement benefits have come from first from the France, and the negotiations are going on for the last 2 years. But because the cost is too high, at the same time, because the Germany consortium has come into the picture, now the negotiations are on with the Germany consortium. Maybe very soon the government of India may conclude the deal with Germany consortium, and within coming 5 to 10 years, India will be provided with various number of jet fighters. I'll just show you the document here now. Look at this. The world's biggest defense deal, which is the worth of 20 billion euros between India and France, may come to an end. Kindly look at the figure here. 20 billion euros, very, very huge. Next point, it is more than 2 years that India wanted to purchase the jet fighters. They are called fighter jets rather, and decided to get it from France. Kindly look at this point. It may be a question here. I am highlighting here. What is the name of that jet fighter? It is called Rafale fighter jet. Very, very important. Kindly remember this one here. Rafale fighter jet. They may ask you in the examination, Rafale fighter jet belongs to, if it is a preliminary examination, answer will be France. Now, look at this. But what is the basic idea of India to have the Rafale fighter jet? This is basically for replacing the MiG-21 that India got from Russia. MiG-21, every one of you who are with me, maybe you are clearly aware of this. So these are the fighter jets, and of course we got it from this Russia. Now the situation is demanding that they should be replaced with the more effective fighter jets. That is the reason why we are looking towards France, where it is called Rafale fighter jets. But Germany consortium has come into the picture with a cheaper proposal, and look at the last point here. The cheaper proposal came from Germany, which is called Eurofighter Typhoon. Very, 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 very important. Clear? Rafale fighter is France, whereas the Germany is the Eurofighter. It is called Typhoon. Hope I am clear. Kindly remember these points. Whenever there is any defense deal, obviously it is very, very important for the nation. Look at this. Now let me talk to you something about the states can designate the official language. See here, there are three important articles here. I'll come to this after some time. But otherwise, what exactly happens is that if you look at India, we have a constitution. And the constitution makes it very, very clear. Hindi in Devanagari script is considered to be the official language for the union. At the same time, the state legislatures can also decide their own official languages. That's the reason if you look at the central level, Hindi is the official language. Of course, English is also used as the official language because of the provisions of the Official Language Act, which I have discussed with you during our polity classes. Let me not go into the details here. But otherwise, the constitution has permitted. Otherwise, the constitution has permitted the state legislatures to decide about this official languages, and they have decided. But that is the reason if you go to any state here, the official language of the state will vary from state to state. That is the reason the state legislature will pick up a language which is spoken by most of the people in the country. So this is the concept here. But how many languages you can have at the state level? So that all depends here. So this particular question has come into the picture because Uttar Pradesh has decided to have Urdu as the second official language. But otherwise Hindi is the official language in Uttar Pradesh. But is it permitted to have the second official language? Of course, the constitution is silent on this. When this particular issue went to the Supreme Court made it very, very clear the state legislature has every right to designate any language as the second official language. Obviously, we know the Supreme Court is considered to be the final interpreter of the Constitution. So whenever we have any doubts in the Constitution, obviously we'll be approaching the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court made it very, very clear that nothing is mentioned in the Constitution where a state cannot have more than one official language. Hence, Supreme Court permitted to go ahead with the more than one language. So that is the story with respect to this official language. Because the Supreme Court has involved in this one, it became important for us. Now the next point, kindly have a look at this. I'm just showing the document. Few points I have discussed with you yesterday itself. I am talking to you about the US Open. when I was talking to you yesterday, we have something called a Grand Slam, I told you. And Grand Slam is four major events where the tennis is played. I told you the names also yesterday. Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, and followed by the US Open. So in the same sequence, this particular matches will happen. Now we are talking something about the US Open, considered to be one of the Grand Slams. And the matches have been concluded very recently. Yesterday, I was also talking to you about India's Sania Mirza. She won the mixed doubles title of this US Open. We have discussed yesterday. But today, let me share something else with you here. Look at this. In women's singles, look at this important points here. Serena Williams defeated Caroline Wozniacki of Denmark, and she defeated this person by 6-3, 6-3. Serena Williams, you must be knowing this. She belongs to United States of America, and she defeated a person from Denmark, Caroline Wozniacki. And this is considered to be her 18th Grand Slam titles in finals. And today, this is the important one again. Yesterday it was Serena Williams, and today it is the Marin Cilic, and he belongs to Croatia. Of course, so the new generation has come into the picture here, and this person has defeated a person by name Ki Nishikori of Japan by 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. So this is how, so the games have been concluded, and for US Open, the winner is the Serena Williams in women's singles, and for men's singles here, it is a Marin Cilic. Just remember these names here. In some of the examinations, including banks or SSC, these type of questions will be asked. Who is the winner of women's singles and who is the winner of the men's singles? Look at this. I would like to show you one point here. Simple question here. Which of the following is not a part of the Grand Slam? You can come to a conclusion very easily. So this is the so-called the Japan Open, right? Now, look at this. So this particular self-styled godman is there in the news. He is Nityananda. He is located in Karnataka area here. Considered to be self-styled godman. There are so many self-styled godmen are present in India. Of course, there is no issue with such type of people as far as they are following the moral and ethical concepts. They are meant for promoting the religion, which is very much permitted by the constitution, and the state cannot interfere. But unfortunately, some of the people like Nityananda, they are being accused. They are being accused, and very unfortunate is that they are being accused in the sexual harassment, rape and molestation cases here, which is considered to be a very serious offense. And this case goes back to the year 2010, where the complaints have been lodged that so he raped a person repeatedly. That is the reason why so the manhunt was started for Nityananda Swami during that time, and he ran away from his ashram, and later he was caught in Himachal Pradesh. Later he was arrested and was produced before the court. Generally what happens is that in any rape case here, in order to identify whether this person has really committed the crime or not, first of all, the potency test will be conducted. It's a very common and a routine procedure here. When the court has directed for conducting a potency test against Nityananda, he objected for this, saying very clearly that he is a godman and he is not in a position to perform any sexual activity. But he is not the person to say all the things. We have the laboratories, and the test must be conducted in the clinics, so that we can come to a conclusion whether this person has really the potency or not. Accordingly, the charges can be framed, and over a period of time he will be convicted. But since beginning, he started refusing and he was not cooperating with the medical authorities. Of course, lower court has rejected the permission for not going ahead. High court also directed him to go for the potency test. Later, he approached the Supreme Court for getting the relaxation for exempting from the undergoing the potency test. But Supreme Court has rejected the petition of Nityananda and he was asked to undergo the potency test. And yesterday, the potency test was conducted for Nityananda in his in Victoria Hospital in Bangalore. So the report will be out from 24 hours to 48 hours. Of course, 24 hours are over. So maybe so tomorrow we may be coming to about this one. But the preliminary information that is released is that it came as positive. Potency test positive means he has the capacity to perform the sexual activity. Right? So if it is done, so then obviously, so he is considered to be a liar and additional charges can be framed against him. That's the reason why. So this particular person is there again in the news. Meaning in India, we always follow a concept called rule of law. Whether you are a self-styled godman or a common man, we are least bothered. The law is same for all the people here. But the only thing is that getting the justice is becoming delayed process here. Otherwise, the case goes back to the year 2010 and we are in the year 2014. It should have been done now here. But because of the various loopholes that are present here, so such type of people are getting escaped. Now, I am coming back to the document here. Now, see here, look at this potency test for the self-styled godman. Look at this. What is potency test? Very frequently you will come across in the newspapers here. Now look at this. So this is a medical examination basically meant to prove that the accused is physically capable of committing the sexual assault. That's it. So this is the case related to a self-styled godman, Nityananda, who is accused of the rape charges. The High Court ordered for potency test for this. He challenged it before the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court has dismissed the petition, and accordingly, on September 8, 2014, the test was conducted in the Victoria Hospital in Bangalore. Now, look at this. I am coming to the next point here. Kindly stay on for some more time. Please be with me. Now look at this. This is a waste is a business in Sweden, right? This is what the remaining countries should learn from. This is Sweden here. I told you already, whenever I am talking to you about any country here, I asked you to have a world map before your study desk, and of course both India map and the world map. And whenever I am using any new name here, maybe the country or the city here, kindly have a look at the map here. Look at the map of the world. This is the Sweden that I am talking to you. It is one of the Scandinavian countries that is present. And regarding this Sweden here, the beautiest thing is that 99% of the waste products in Sweden, they are going for the recycling. So that's the reason why the the remaining countries are expected to learn so much from the Sweden here. And when it comes to the waste, waste is waste for so many countries, but Sweden is importing waste from so many other countries, and it is recycling that. The very, very important one and the very beautiful thing here. I'll just show you the document here. Because of that reason, the Sweden is very much there in the news. It's not a new concept, but again it has come into the news. Very, 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 very important. So let me show you the document here. Look at this. Sweden imports garbage from UK, Italy and other countries. Right? It is importing the garbage from other countries. Look at this. 99% of its own is also recycled. Very, very important. But what are you doing with this? Look at this. Sweden has 32 waste to energy plants. What is the meaning of this? Just now I told you is waste for so many countries, but waste can be converted into energy in Sweden, and they are called waste to energy plants that is used to produce electricity. That's the reason why. So this Sweden is very much there in the news. And kindly have a look at this. Last point, let me talk to you for today. One China and one India policy. What exactly is this? For example, look at this here. I am talking to you. There are so many issues that are present between India and China. There are so many issues that are present here. But if you look at India, there is a state called Arunachal Pradesh where the China is claiming its rights over this Arunachal Pradesh. And China always says that Arunachal Pradesh is a part of the China here. That is the reason why from Arunachal Pradesh, if anybody wants to go to China, instead of the normal visas here, stapled visas are being provided by this China. Meaning, China is treating Arunachal Pradesh as a part of China and not as a part of this India. But when it comes to the concept of China on its own, there are two areas which are associated with China. One is Tibet and second one is Taiwan. There is a big issue that is going on whether these two areas are the part of China or not. China claims that it is a part of the China, but they don't claim that we are the part of the China here. Arunachal Pradesh, according to China, is not part of India, and for Tibet and Taiwan, they are not part of the China according to them. Now this month, in the month of September, in the last week, the Chinese president is going to visit India. Obviously, China is one of our important neighbors, so we need to have certain bilateral relations. So whatever the issues that are present here, so they should be answered by both the nations here. When China is talking about one China policy, the China includes Tibet and Taiwan. India is also saying that if you want me to say one China policy, we also want you to say one India policy, because India, whatever the Arunachal Pradesh you are claiming, first identify that Arunachal Pradesh as the part of India. That is the demand that is being made by the so-called this India. It's a beautiful attempt that we are making it. Otherwise, India is a sovereign country. No other country can claim the rights on Indian territory. Arunachal Pradesh is an integral part of India. Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India, and all the 29 states and 7 union territories put together is called India. And it is the responsibility of the government to protect the sovereignty of the nation. Is that clear? So I'll stop here for today. I have taken more time for you people here. But anyways, so we are discussing so many issues. Kindly, I request you, whenever you get the time, kindly keep on watching these videos, and they are always kept at your disposals. Clear? And again, one more reminder here, as usual, after completion of this one, please put your comments in the comment box, so which is very, very important for me. So try to, so we can be making certain corrections here. That is the reason why. Don't forget, kindly don't forget, every day please keep on giving the comments here. So I'll be looking at the comments and will be trying to improve much better manner here. Clear? And with respect to some of the questions here, I did not post in the our website today. It is because the concerned person who is helping me with this regard, so the as far as uploading is concerned, he is not available today. So that is the reason why I'll be posting them tomorrow itself. Fine. So thank you so much. Thanks for being with me, and see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Till then, goodbye. Good luck. Fine.